What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am repping Charles Wesley Godwin because he just announced a new single and a new album. And if you're not on board with him and you haven't heard his first album, Seneca, just go ahead and get on board now. But we're not actually talking about Charles today. We are talking about a subject I've mentioned a few times here on the channel before, and that is TikTok.
No, God!
Specifically, country music TikTok. In the last 3 years, I've done 3 videos on country TikTok, and in the first one, we were just like, what is this weird cringe platform where people are lip syncing and line dancing and trying to thirst trap to country songs? In the second one, we were like, okay, maybe there's some legitimacy to this platform and people are starting to post some original music. And then in the last one, which I posted last year, we were seeing artists like Priscilla Block and Andrew Janakis really launch their careers out of TikTok. And at this point, it's obvious that the platform is not going anywhere. It is not just a gimmick, but it's a viable method of promotion. You have songs like Fancy Like, which is becoming one of the biggest hits in any genre of the year, that was launched almost exclusively out of TikTok. And now, as predicted, Applebee's is using it in their commercials. Fancy Like. And you have stars like Thomas Rhett trying to create a similar buzz with dance tracks like Redneck Be Like. Plus, there have been other viral hits spawned off of the app, like Trey Lewis's Dick Down in Dallas. Meanwhile, legitimate legends of the genre like Randy Travis and even George Strait have launched TikTok accounts. And you'll have classic songs like Reba McEntire's I'm a Survivor, which will just randomly become a trend on the app. People will make videos of themselves surviving the difficulties of household duties. And now if you look at Reba McEntire's Spotify, that is one of her most played tracks with a whole new audience.
I'm a survivor.
So at this point, you'd really have to be in denial to suggest that TikTok is not playing a role, at least some role, in the country music scene at large. But even though labels are getting involved and trying to figure out how they can hack this platform for their benefit, for the most part, the user base is still independent. The content is still homespun. And we have this class of rising TikTok country stars that have huge audiences that post original music that gets a lot of views, even though they don't have a major record deal. And they're at this spot now where they're trying to figure out if they can leverage their audience into a legitimate country career. And I want to talk about some of those people in this video. When I think about buzzy people in the country TikTok landscape, the person that first comes to mind is Warren Zeiders.
Don't you put on that makeup.
About a year ago, I started seeing Warren all over my For You page with these extremely close-up videos where he's kind of giving this violating stare into the camera and growling out powerful versions of Porch Swing Angel by Muscadine Bloodline, and sometimes even Colt 45.
We can go to the park after dark, smoke there, tumbleweed.
Comments would be filled with the breathless lust of many women saying, like, who is this man that clearly was, hitting them in the loins the way Rip from Yellowstone does. But even when I cringed at the videos themselves, Warren's voice is undeniable. The way he can shift his volume just creates such a dynamic sound, and I was intrigued to see what his original music sounded like. Because a lot of people can post cool covers, and then when it comes to their originals, they have trouble getting anyone to care. But when Warren started dropping original music, songs like On the Run and his biggest hit, Ride the Lightning,
Gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder, till the darkness pulls me on.
they clicked with people. His voice sounded good, they had a certain bad boy energy about them, and as audiences enjoyed hearing his original music, he did that thing that TikTokers do where they play it over and over and over and over again. They sit in their car or they sit in a stairwell and they sing the same line of their song 500 times. And that's what the algorithm likes, and that's how you make a song become a viral hit. And if you look at his Spotify streams, his monthly listeners, that's unique individuals that have listened to his Spotify, it's over 1 million people, which is right in line with major label artists. And as far as I can tell, this guy is still an unsigned artist working out of Pennsylvania and becoming kind of the outlaw of TikTok. Can you be a TikTok outlaw?
Why not? Why not?
I don't know, but Warren is. And to his credit, he's kind of like backed away from the camera, gotten some cooler aesthetics, and for me, it makes it go down a little easier. He is undoubtedly the artist from TikTok that I get requested to cover the most. Him, and then probably Brandon Davis, and then probably Spencer Crandall.
You're my person, my heartbeat, my soul dance.
Now, in terms of sound, Spencer's like the opposite end of the spectrum from Warren. He is not trying to sound like Stapleton or Cody Jinks. He's definitely going for a pop vibe. He's got his song My Person, which is kind of his song about sipping on a Mai Tai and falling in love, and it's just trying to be like a little pop bop that plays at weddings. But Spencer is probably the other best example of actually leveraging TikTok clout and the repetition of a song in video after video into actual streaming power. The guy has real numbers behind him. And to me, what's interesting is he is not trying to do the same thing that Priscilla Block did and sign a big major record deal, or that Andrew Giannakis did, or that Lily Rose has done. For now, he's trying to keep it independent, and it seems like a lot of these folks are, and that's interesting. Like, are we at a time now in music history where it's actually more desirable to control your audience and not sign a major record deal than it is to kind of cash out and take the big promotional power of the labels? As long as country radio is at the center of promotion in the country world, I think there will probably always be a place for the labels, because it's their promotion teams that actually know how to get songs played on the radio. And watch my radio video if you want to know about that shady world. But I think artists like Spencer are carving out this new direct-to-consumer model. For a lot of young artists, it seems like the strategy to pursue on TikTok is to have a hit gimmick song.
Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie.
Something funny, ear-catching, that makes people stop, laugh, and hopefully check out the artist more.
Yeah, we fancy like Applebee's on a date night.
And I feel like there's a lot of examples of these lately. Austin Burke recorded a song called Wet Dream, which is not about a pubescent night. In fact, it's about him just really wanting to go fishing.
I had a wet dream, just me and my dinghy.
Alyssa Michaela got millions of views on a song of hers called Hell in a Handbag, about all the things she finds in her purse.
Got 11 and a bar from a cowboy in Texas. Still got the spare key to my ex's Lexus.
There's a new trio of girls called the Chattahoochees, which is an amazing name, and I recognize Nelly from the band Gone West that is now in this new trio, but they had some viral success and a song called Panhandle Scandal.
Panhandle scandal, gossip like a redneck Roman candle.
That's almost like a Floridian version of Goodbye Earl. And maybe most notably in this category of gimmick songs, George Burge has a song called Beer, Beer, Truck, Truck, which was actually a response to a girl roasting country musicians.
Beer, beer, truck, truck, girls in tight jeans.
And he kind of took that shady little hook that she sang and turned it into a real song, the hook of which is,
It ain't all beer, beer, truck, truck, girls in them tight jeans.
Now, I personally think the song is still kind of a pop country track, but you gotta respect just the wit of thinking to do that. I mean, it's pretty genius to take a viral thing, trashing country music, turn it on its head, and then make a hit song for yourself. Now, in all of those cases, you have a young performer that has found out how to get a lot of eyeballs on their music with a funny, original track. But as everybody knows, you're not really gonna make a ton of money from music streams. The royalties just don't pay out that much in the digital age. If you wanna really make it as a performer, you're gonna have to tour. And I think the question on everybody's minds, including the label executives that are sometimes signing these young artists, is, can they pull an audience live? Are they good live? Or do they only know how to sing into their phone? And there are three artists, Thomas Mack, Cooper Allen, and Alexandra Kay, that have really been putting that to the test over the past few months and launching a tour together.
Cooper, come look at this comment.
Now, if you spend any time in the kind of country music scene within TikTok, you've definitely seen all these people. They've kind of been in and out of the 615 House, which is the influencer collective started by Chris Rudiger and Ashley Cook that launched about a year ago and is kind of putting together songwriters and trying to leverage that into a kind of launch pad for country careers. Cooper and Alexandra have both hit #1 on iTunes. Thomas is often in that mix as well. They're known for their mashups or for doing parodies of songs, or for Alexandra for singing and making iced coffee at the same time.
Well, Mama washed and combed and curled my hair. She painted my eyes and lips.
And what I think is so admirable that they are doing is they are experimenting with the world of touring. They're playing clubs. These are not huge venues, but they've been traveling the country and selling out shows to a few hundred people in the audience, cutting their teeth, figuring out if they can make the touring infrastructure work, and thus far, it seems like they can.
TikTok can't sell tickets!
And to me, that actually mimics a lot of the acts that are coming out of Texas and the red dirt scene that obviously don't have mainstream radio and a tour that's taking them around the country, or an opening spot before Jason Aldean, or they're not on like the Live Nation mega ticket, and instead they're having to figure out how to book clubs and play shows all over the state of Texas. And what I've always found inspiring about the Texas scene is that there's so much less overhead in that business setup, and these artists can actually support themselves and their bands and their family with that money. And so while you might look at a group of 3 TikTokers that have a couple million followers between them online and say, yeah, why are they only playing to a couple hundred people right now? I think it's actually an incredibly encouraging sign, because this is how A, you get better, and B, you will get bigger shows as well. Once you prove you can sell out one size, you grade up. That's kind of how the career trajectory of any artist goes. In fact, pretty much anytime I am at a major label artist, big arena or stadium show, and you see this first opener, someone that has like a number 30 hit on country radio and is signed to Sony, like you see them open to an arena that is 1/5 full and everyone is finding their seat and talking, I almost always think it would probably be more worth it for that person to go headline a few clubs and actually build an audience that's connected to them, rather than just being the opener on a tour where they're an afterthought. So I don't know why I'm getting on a little soapbox about this right now, but I'm just kind of inspired by these 3 that are going on this tour this summer and hope to see other TikTokers emulate that. But I'm also curious to see if there's not a whole sector of TikTok music artists that aren't interested in doing that. That instead of being touring artists and following this traditional route of performing, if maybe they're more interested in being like a musical influencer. Maybe they do suck live. Maybe they get awkward when they're up on stage. Maybe it's not in their life plan for themselves or their family for them to go touring. And maybe they actually prefer just making gimmicky songs and singing into their phone. And if that's the case, are we going to see a whole generation of online country artists that are just selling flat tummy tea and the lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped? In any case, the fact that some of those songs went so viral and some of these artists have so many viewers the way that they do, and yet they haven't immediately jumped into label deals, is very fascinating to me. Because it says to me that the psyche around the traditional deal is no longer as appealing to every single up-and-coming artist. There are people that have some imagination for doing it their own way and building a crowd in their own way. And maybe I'm just, seeing what I want to see, and all these artists are eventually just going to sign on the dotted line, and they're going to end up with a big label, and they're going to try and play that whole game. But it looks to me like people are spotting the cracks in the standard rollout of young country artists. They're no longer desiring just to be popular on country radio. They're seeing the success of someone like Coffee Anderson and his song Mr. Red, White, and Blue, and that's not getting pushed by a major label. They see stuff like Dick Down in Dallas take off, and they're like, maybe I can do it on my own. But I wonder how the institutions within Nashville are eventually going to accept or reject these people doing it on their own, because if there's one thing about the system, it's that the system likes to support things that came out of the system, and that there is a side of corporate Nashville that wants ownership and input on the people that really make it big, the people that become the Luke Bryans and Luke Combs of the world. There is a level of pride that the city of Nashville helped get them there. And so right now, it's hard for me to imagine someone that I've talked about in this video, a Warren Zeiders, for instance, becoming someone that is going to win Entertainer of the Year at the CMAs if he doesn't play the game at some point. But perhaps a new philosophy is setting in and people are like, I don't need to be Luke Bryan. I can be, one shade less famous and have a direct connection to my audience and not have to be part of the whole rigmarole of the industry. Hello from the editing bay. I just wanted to put in a note here and say that this video isn't so much about quality, because to me as a music listener, the most important thing is still, are the songs good? And I think a lot of TikTokers are really good at getting views, but are maybe ignoring writing quality songs, having a perspective, having something to say. But when I was making this video, I was just thinking of it more kind of as a marketing and distribution video and kind of the strategies TikTokers are using in that case. But at the end of the day, I think the best way to get attention, the best way to get views is to have something unique to say. And I think a lot of independent artists have that, but don't have the marketing savvy of some of these kiddos, and they could learn something from it. But similarly, I think some of the people in this video could learn something from these independent artists that are really putting their heart into their music and their unique perspective. So, I don't know. I felt like I was losing my edge a little bit. So, that's all. We will have to see. I think I'm just fascinated by this subject, which is why I keep making a freaking TikTok video every year. Now, if you're someone that likes country music and wants to find a few artists that I just think are buzzy, that people talk about and tag me a bunch in on TikTok, I would say check out Warren Zeiders. I would say check out a guy named James Tucker. I really like his music.
State champs, white and blue. Yeah, I remember you.
Chattahoochees, these girls are funny, and I think these songs are really good. You can also follow me there. I'm like the least consistent poster ever, and yet somehow I have way more followers there than I have on Instagram, which is just weird. Every time I try and do something fun and trendy, it like doesn't get any views. I think Golden Hour is a good album too, but I do think it's the worst Casey Musgraves album. I just think pageant material doesn't get the credit it deserves. But when I just stand in front of a green screen and talk studiously about something, those videos do super well. So my TikTok persona is so nerdy, I feel like, but you know, that's just what the algorithm wants. Let me know what you guys think of country TikTok. Let me know if you think these artists are going to be able to keep leveraging their success into big tours. And hit me up in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out the merch, yada, yada, yada. I love you guys. Bye.